Hello students, welcome to the second part of force and laws of motion. Now in the previous slide we have studied about inertia, momentum and force. Now in this slide we will talk about laws of motion. So we are just taking Newton's second law of motion. What it says actually. The rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the applied force and takes place in the direction in which the force acts. Now in the first law of motion we have studied if the body is at rest or in motion, it will remain in the same state unless and until an external force is not applied on it. Actually this law was defining about inertia, and inertia we have studied inertia of state rest, inertia of motion and inertia of direction. Now in the second law of motion what it says that if momentum is changing with time, then this rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force and the body is moving in the direction of applied force. Now it is mathematically we are writing force is directly proportional to change in momentum upon time taken. F is force, and suppose the body has mass m. When we apply force to the body, its velocity changes from v to v plus del v. And as momentum is mass into velocity, therefore small change in momentum is written as mass into small change in velocity. Now according to Newton's second law, F is directly proportional to dp by dt, or F is equal to k dp by dt. We know whenever we remove the proportionality sign is equal to and a constant comes, here constant is k, and this k is constant, and in the next step we are writing F is equal to k limit delta t tends to 0 del p upon delta t. Now we are applying here limits, and we know that when we take limit del t tends to 0 or denominator tends to very small, it converts into instantaneous value. So if we apply it, it will be written F is equal to k dp by dt. Now we know that what is momentum, mass into velocity, so F is equal to k dv d by dt m into v. K and m will both be constant, it will be come out and it will be dv by dt, and we know that what is dv by dt, it is acceleration. That's why F is equal to km into a is acceleration. So if we apply 1 Newton of force on a body whose mass is 1 kg, then the acceleration which is produced in the body is of 1 meter per second square. So if we put F1, M1, A1, then K will also become 1. Therefore F is equal to M into A. That is force is equal to mass into acceleration. Now acceleration is force upon mass. So the acceleration produced in a body is directly proportional to the force acting on it and inversely proportional to the mass of the body. Force is a vector quantity. Force can cause acceleration or deceleration. Example, accelerator of a car accelerates and it brakes, decelerate it. SI unit of force is Newton. 1 Newton is defined as that force which when acting on a body of mass 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in it. Now place an 100 gram on your outstretched palm. The force you feel is nearly 1 Newton. Like we have shown one hand here. There is a 100 gram mass on the hand. So how much force will this hand will experience? It will experience 1 Newton. Now we talk about some important points about second law of motion. First, in the second law, force is 0, it means acceleration is 0. This is obviously consistent with the first law. What it says, first law, that if we not apply any force, the body will not change its state. Similarly, it states the same. If we are not applying any force, so the body will also not accelerate. The second law is vector law. It is equivalent to 3 equations, one for each component of the vector. That is, force can be along x-axis, so it will be rate of change of displacement along x-axis. So mass into acceleration along x-axis. Similarly, force along y-axis will be rate of change of momentum along y-axis. So mass into acceleration along y-axis. Force along z-axis is equal to rate of change of momentum along z-axis. So it will be mass into acceleration along z-axis. This means that if a force is not parallel to the velocity of the body but makes some angle with it, it changes only the component of velocity along the direction of force. It means acceleration can be along x-axis, it can be along y-axis, and it can be along z-axis also. The component of velocity normal to the force remains unchanged. For example, in the motion of a projectile under the vertical gravitational force, the horizontal component of velocity remains unchanged. We have seen that there was no change in acceleration in the horizontal value of velocity. Now the equation F is equal to dp by dt, which is equal to m into a, is applicable to a single point particle. However, it is same for a rigid body, or even more generally to a system of particles. In this case, m refers to the mass of rigid body or total mass of the system of the particles, and a refers to the acceleration of the center of mass of the system. Any internal forces in the system are not to be included in F. The second law is called local relation, which means that force F at a point in a space at a certain instant of time is related to A. At that point, at that instant, acceleration here and now is determined by the force here and now, not by any history of the motion of the particle. Now we talk about impulse. Impulse is actually that kind of force which acts on a body for a very small interval of time. Like we hit a wall with the help of a ball. It means if a ball hits a wall, it is an impulse. If we hit a ball with the help of a bat, it is also an impulse. So when a ball hits a wall and bounces back, the force on the ball by the wall acts for a very short time when the two are in contact, yet the force is large enough to reverse the momentum on the ball. In these situations, it is difficult to ascertain the force and time duration separately. However, the product of force and time, which is the change in momentum, is measurable quantity. This product is called impulse. So impulse actually is that force which acts on a body for a very short interval of time. Now impulse is equal to force into time duration. Now what is force? Change in momentum upon time. So that time and time will cancel out, or you will get only change in momentum. So we can write impulse is equal to force into time. A large force acts for a short time to produce change in momentum is called impulsive force. Importance of impulse in practice. A high jumping or long jumping athlete is provided either a cushion or a heap of sand on the ground to fall upon. The cushion or sand helps to increase the time in which the momentum comes to zero. This decreases the rate of change of momentum, and hence the force so the athlete does not get hurt. Packing material like thermocol, corrugated sheets, bubbled plastic sheet, straw, paper strands, etc. are used while packing glasswares, chinaware, electronic devices, etc. These materials help to increase the time in which the momentum comes to zero when jolting and jerking takes place. This decreases the rate of change of momentum and hence the force. So the article do not get broken. Now third, we talking about shock absorbers which we use in our vehicles are provided in vehicle to allow more time duration the bumps and jerks. A seasoned cricket player stops the ball, catches by drawing his hands along the direction of motion of the ball, thus by allowing more time and to apply less force. Like there is one ball. Now when he will catch, you can see on this figure also ball is coming. He is catching and drawing his hands in the direction of motion of the body just to increase the time span. A fast moving cricket ball has a large momentum. In stopping the cricket ball, its momentum has to be reduced to zero. When a player moves his hands back, the time taken to stop the ball increases and hence the rate of change of momentum decreases. That is, the force exerted by the ball on the hands decreases, so the hands of the player do not get hurt. Now we talk about another law of motion, Newton's third law of motion. What it says actually, to every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. The statement means that in every interaction there is a pair of forces acting on the two interacting objects. The size of the object of the forces on the first object equals the size of the force on the second object. The direction of the force on the first object is opposite to the direction of force on the second object. Forces always come in pairs, equal and opposite. Action, reaction, force pairs. If we say force is applied by A on B, then it will be equal to force applied by B on A, but in opposite direction. That's why negative sign we have placed in the equation. Note, action and reactions are just forces. The forces always occurs in pair. Action and reaction do not act on the same body. Action and reaction act on different bodies but simultaneously. There is no cause-effect relation, as it is a misconception. Though action and reaction forces are equal in magnitude, but they do not produce equal acceleration in the two bodies of different masses on which they act. Now we talk about examples or application of Newton's third law of motion. You can see there are two springs and we are just going to pull them like this. The force acting on the left hand side is equal to 58 gram weight and the same amount of force is acting on the right hand spring balance, but the direction is opposite to each other. Now similarly you can see one ball and one ball is going to hit on it. So whatever the force was applied by the ball on the wall is an action, and the force applied by the ball on the ball is the reaction of it. They will be same but in opposite direction. Similarly, if you take a gun, if you fire a bullet with the help of the gun, you will find that what? Force on bullet is action, force on gun is the reaction. This is known as recoil of a gun. Action and reaction. You can see there is one balloon which has first you can say that you can again see there is one balloon which has air and it is exhausting this air outside, and the reaction is upping in the upward direction. Whatever the air was going in the downward direction, and in the opposite side it was applying the force, that was a reaction, and this balloon is going up, like again you can see like this. Now if we go to the another part, there is one rocket. Rocket is going up because the exhaust gases are applying the force in the downward direction, as you can see, and the rocket is going in the opposite direction. Similarly, the weight of the body is acting in the downward direction, and the reaction supplied by the or provided by the surface on which the foot is placed is the reaction of it. Similarly, if action is acting in this direction, the reaction will be in the opposite direction. Now vertical component of reactions and the weight again. Horizontal component of reactions, forward motion. Now you can see there is one person who is standing on the board. If he move forward direction, he will apply the force to the board in the backward direction. So this is action and reaction concept. So this is the end of the second part of force and laws of motion. Thank you, students.